Hey guys, it's Russ Ruffino with Clients on Demand, and today we're going to be talking about the 3 crucial functions of your business that you cannot overlook. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, welcome to the show. It is Russ Ruffino with Clients on Demand. And like I said, today we're going to be focusing on the 3 critical business functions that you cannot overlook. Today, I am joined by the brilliant, the amazing Mr. Brooke Bishop, our Director of Revenue here at Clients on Demand. And this is a very, very important show for you guys because I think what it's going to do is massively simplify your workload. So right now, when you look at your business, you're probably seeing multiple different problems, right? You're seeing problems with this, problems with that, problems with this client, problems with that client. And what we want to invite you to do today is sort of just take a step back and take a 30,000 foot view of your business. Because when you look at your business from that perspective, there's really only 3 big things that you absolutely have to attend to in your business. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Brooke, how's it going, man?
Doing awesome, brother. Doing very, very well, and stoked to dig into this topic.
Awesome. Beautiful. All right. So the first thing I want to talk about before we get into the 3 critical business functions is this tendency that people have to sort of overcomplicate things. We all, as business owners, have a tendency to make things more complicated than they need to be. And you might just do this because you're a perfectionist or it just might be in your DNA to kind of overcomplicate stuff. But that's not really what I want to talk about. What I see more than anything else is people who overcomplicate things because it gives them a place to hide. So let me show you what I'm talking about. A great example of this is in the movie Collateral with Jamie Foxx and Tom Cruise. If you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It's an awesome movie. But anyway, Jamie Foxx's character is a cab driver, and Tom Cruise is the hitman. And Tom Cruise ends up getting into his cab and then kind of forcing him to drive him all around the city. And while he goes and on his little missions and takes all these people out. Anyway, the character of Jamie Foxx is a really interesting character because all throughout the movie, he keeps talking about how he wants to start this limo company. And, I'm only a cab driver. It's only a temporary thing. This is just a temporary gig, man. I'm working on my limo company. And Tom Cruise is like, cool. Well, how long have you been driving a cab before you launch your limo company? And he's like, oh, yeah, I've been doing it for like 13 years. So Tom Cruise is like, wait a minute, this isn't really a temporary thing. And as you get to know Jamie Foxx's character, you realize that what he has been doing is making the process of starting his limo company way more complicated than it needs to be. So you hear him say things like, oh man, no, I can't just go out there and, buy a limo and start driving people around. It's got to have a vibe. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be this. It's got to be that, blah, blah, blah. And you begin to realize that this guy, Jamie Foxx's character, is just terrified to take the first step. And eventually, Tom Cruise's character gets so mad at him that he's like, man, listen, you're putting your whole dream, your whole life on hold when really you could have gotten started for the price of a down payment on a Lincoln Town Car. And so Jamie's character realizes that he's been making things more complicated because he's just terrified to take that first step. And we see this all the time when people are reaching out to work with us. People are saying, well, I can't make high ticket sales, or I can't start a high ticket coaching business until I have a New York Times bestseller. Well, if you believe that, now that just massively complicated your life, didn't it? Because now it's like, what are you going to write the book about? You got to sit there and you got to write it. You got to find a publisher. Maybe you have to find a lit agent. You see what I'm saying? It just, that one choice spawns all these other problems that aren't real. It spawns all these other problems that are fake. And what we see, and this is the most tragic thing that we see, is people spend years or decades basically trying to solve all those little problems that don't even exist in the first place. In other words, they're working so hard to climb this ladder without ever realizing that the ladder is leaning against the wrong tree. Guys, this is something you really need to get your head around because it can derail your success for years or decades. Another thing we hear all the time is, well, Russ, if I want to have a high ticket coaching business, the first thing I better do is get hundreds of thousands or millions of followers on social media, right? The moment you accept that idea, I can tell you exactly what you're going to be doing for the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. You're going to be posting to social media all day long. You're going to be hoping that you get followers. You're going to be hoping that people pay attention, and you're not going to be making a dime. And you're going to slowly get burnt out, slowly get frustrated. Your wife or your husband and all the people that are around you supporting you, they're going to lose patience with you because you're going to be doing all of this work and not producing any results. Why? Because you thought there was all this other stuff that you needed to do before you started getting high ticket clients. So the one thing I want to share with you today is that there isn't a million things that you need to do before you start getting high ticket clients. There's really only 3 crucial business functions that you need to be paying attention to. And even before you get into that, honestly, you could get your first high ticket client tomorrow. All you have to do is think about what is the problem that you solve and who are the people that you know in your life that have that problem. And all you have to do is reach out to those people and have a conversation and enroll them as a client. So you could get that first client or those first 2 or 3 clients like in the next couple days if you just worked up the courage to do it. But building that sustainable business that's going to really function for the long term, it doesn't come down to 50 billion different things. You don't need a New York Times bestseller. You don't need a hit podcast. You don't need to be on social media all day. You really just need to do 3 very simple things. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So as we get into this, I want you to really take a good look at what's been going on in your business and ask yourself, have you been making things more complicated than they need to be? Because you're afraid to really put yourself out there, because you're afraid to maybe hear the word no.
Yeah, and hey, Russ, I think it's really important for people to recognize too, you don't have to be a rocket scientist, right? We don't have to come up with rocket science ideas. We don't have to come up with the next Facebook. You don't have to come up with, it doesn't have to be this grandiose thing that's so monumental, right? It's like, what are you good at? What problem do you solve? Great. Implement these 3 pieces and go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's what you want to do, guys, is you want to figure out what is your outcome, right? So the outcome for most of us is I just want to get it. I want to hit $10,000 a month or $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month or whatever that income goal is for you. And that income goal is going to grow over time. When I was first starting, Brooke, I probably haven't even told you this. When I was first starting out, man, my goal was to make $100 a day. To me, it was like, man, if I could make $100 a day online, that would change everything. And then that turned into $10,000 a month, and then $100,000 a month, and then $1 million a month, and now like 1.5, 1.7 million a month where we're at today. But it all happens in those steps. But either way, guys, the point is you set that goal for yourself, and what you should be trying to do is to say, what is the shortest path to that goal? So guys, when I was first starting out, before we did Clients on Demand, the stuff that I heard everyone say is the kind of stuff I was talking about before. Man, if you really want to make 6 figures or 7 figures as a coach, you have to do all this stuff first. You need to have a really, really complicated funnel. Well, I started out by saying, well, maybe you don't. Maybe you can have the simplest funnel possible. Maybe it can just be add webinar phone call, new client. Would that work? And it did work. There's a lot of people saying that if you wanted to enroll somebody as a client at $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000, you had to sell them a lot of inexpensive stuff first. You had to sell them a $27 ebook and nurture the client. That's what they said. Nurture that relationship. And then sell them a $27 ebook and then sell them a $97 thing and then sell them like your $200 a month VIP membership. And then maybe once you've properly nurtured that relationship, you can enroll them as a $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 client. Well, I just sat there and said, maybe that's not true either. What if we tried it another way? So guys, what you have to do is if someone is putting all these different steps and roadblocks between you and your goal, try to do it without any of that stuff. Try to find what is the fastest path to the goal. So in our case, it was like, well, what if we offered someone something for $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 right out of the gate? What would happen then? And what if we did it without doing all this stuff? And I thought to myself, guys, look, when you walk into a Bentley dealership, they sell you a freaking Bentley. They don't try to sell you a keychain. And then now we're going to sell you the floor mats. And then maybe we'll sell you a hat. And then we work our way up to selling you the car that you came in there to buy. No, they sell you the car. So that's what we started to do in our business is we just started questioning all of that conventional wisdom. And you know what? It worked. We are taking people from clicking on our ads to signing up with us as a new client within 24 to 48 hours at those premium prices. And not only are we doing that, our clients are doing that too. Even if they've never sold anything high ticket before, even if they don't have a New York Times bestseller and a huge audience and all that other stuff, you know what? We don't have any of those things either. So the point that I'm trying to make, guys, is that you don't want to sit there and make it harder for you to get where you're trying to go. You want to make it as simple as you possibly can. And that's what we want to do for you today on today's show. We really want to simplify that workflow and just give you like 3 things that you should be focusing on so that you don't find yourself pulled in 10 different directions. But the one thing I can't fix for you, at least not right here on this show. I can fix it for you if you're a client, but at least not right here on this show, is that tendency to sort of hide in those problems and hide in that overcomplication. So what I want to invite you to do before we get into this is just really check in with yourself. Have you been making things more complicated than they need to be? Have you been hiding in that complexity? Have you been sort of getting ready to get ready and doing all the busy work that's tedious but safe, right? Because you're not putting yourself out there the way that you need to be. So if that's what you're doing, I want to invite you to stop. And Brooke and I are going to dive into the 3 crucial things that you need to be focusing on in your business. And this should massively simplify everything for you. And if you really take this to heart, it's going to take away like 90% of your current workload. Cool? All right. That first thing that you need to be focused on is attract. Attract. So there's 3 pieces here: attract, convert, deliver. The first one is attract. How are you going to get new leads into your business? And how can you do this as simply and efficiently as possible? That's what that attract thing means. Make sense?
Yeah. And Russ, with your system, with the COD method, this is what we do every single day. This is what we're helping hundreds, if not thousands of people do every single day. So your 3-step process within this 3 steps that we're talking about, right? It works, right? So your ad to webinar to the calendar, it works every single time. And it like clockwork. If you are a coach, an author, a speaker, somebody who's out there with a message, or you have customers who need your help, put this one piece in play and you're going to have too many clients, right? You're going to have so many people. You're going to be like, holy crap, I need step 2 because that's going to be the next piece of the puzzle.
Right. So again, guys, you ask yourself, okay, so what do we need to do? We need to attract people that are interested in buying what we have, right? I mean, that's the cornerstone of any business. And I don't care what you do. Maybe you own a donut store. Okay, great. How do I get people to come into my donut store? It's really simple. I own a restaurant. How do I get people to come into my restaurant? If you're a coach or consultant or thought leader, it's like, how do I get people to come on board and get thinking about working with me? That's that attract piece. Now, what we found is that the simplest way to do that and the most predictable way to do that is through paid advertising. And you don't need to have a huge budget to do it either. So don't think for a second that I'm saying, just come right out of the gate and spend $1,000 a day. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying spend like $20 a day, right? I'm saying spend $30 a day, something like that, something manageable. But even that, with the power of online advertising, if you do it correctly, is going to bring you a certain number of people, boom, 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 that are going to be coming and checking out your stuff. And then once they click your ad, my suggestion would be to get them on some kind of a webinar or video or presentation where they can get to know you and they can get to know what you're all about, and where you can begin speaking to them about the challenges that they're facing, and you can begin to introduce them to your solution to those challenges. So for example, let's say that you're, a marriage and family therapist, and that you specialize in helping people put their marriage back together. Okay, great. Start running ads online and bring those people into some kind of a video or webinar or something where you're talking to them about the reality of their situation, the gravity of their situation, how they need to do something about it, and they need to do something about it now, and why other approaches have failed them and why your approach is better. And then offer them the chance to have a conversation with you about becoming a client. That's it. That's all you need to do. So think about that, guys. What sounds simpler? To put together one video that you're going to send a bunch of people to that invites them to become a client, or to go out there and say, I'm going to write a New York Times bestseller. I'm going to go do that, right? Putting together a video takes like a week, maybe tops, if you've never done it before. I can do it in like, a couple hours, right? Putting together an ad, again, something very, very fast. You're running ads, boom, they're going to your video, boom, 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 boom. How many of those people reach out to work with you, right? It can be that fast. It can be that simple. All this stuff of like, well, I got to get to 100,000 followers first. It's nonsense. You don't. Or I have to write a New York Times bestseller. Okay, great. That's going to call me in a couple of years when you're done doing that. Let me know how that works out for you. You understand? You got to make it simple and clean. If what you want are clients, then have a process that brings you clients. Just because someone likes a post of yours on Instagram or follows you on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, that doesn't mean that they're interested in working with you as a client, right? Followers and clients are two different things. People who buy your book and people who actually become a client are two different things. So if you want clients, then go out there and get the clients. Run ads on social media, get them into some kind of video or webinar or presentation that pre-sells them, and then get them on the phone and talk to them about working together. Does that make sense, guys? So that's that first piece, attract. Attract. How are you going to get people to put up their hands and say, I'm interested in working with you? And how can you do that as simply and cleanly as possible? The fastest and most effective way that we've found to do that is to run ads and drive them into some kind of presentation, a video, a webinar, whatever. That's the fastest way that we've seen. If you find a faster way, great. But this is the best way that we've seen in years and years and years of testing and spending millions of dollars on advertising. That's going to get you where you want to go very, very quickly. All right, so then now that brings us to the second piece, convert. Once these people have put their hand up and said, yeah, I'm interested in working together, how do we convert them? How do we turn them into a client? How do we take them from someone who's just interested, a prospect, to actually becoming a buyer? That's the second piece that you need to focus on. So number one, how are you attracting those leads into your business? Number two, how are you converting them into buyers? That's the focus. And Brooke, that's actually your specialty.
Yeah, no, with the conversion side, part of what's most critical in any sales engagement is actually that first step. So if you're attracting the right people for the right reasons in an integritous way, the conversion side actually becomes much easier, right? It's where a lot of people get hung up is they get hung up around trying to sell somebody into their program versus helping people solve the actual challenge or problem that they're facing. So with this whole dynamic of I got to pressure sell them, or I've got to do the old, these old tactics that are going to swindle somebody into my program. Like, no, that crap doesn't work. And people, quite frankly, people don't like it these days. It might have worked back in the 80s. It doesn't work anymore.
You have to have that sales process that is integrous. You have to have a sales process that empowers your customer, empowers your client rather than taking their power away. So if you're selling something for a low ticket price, to $27, $97, $197, maybe even up to like $1,000, then you can probably take those people to some kind of an add to cart button where they can just click the button and buy your stuff. However, I have to tell you guys, it's getting much, much more difficult to do that. So back in April, just to give you guys some inside information, which you might already know about, Apple rolled out an update called iOS 14. And as part of the iOS 14 update, they gave the users of Apple devices the ability to disable a lot of the tracking that ad platforms like Facebook or YouTube depend on. Now, Facebook's been working really hard to find workarounds and to find ways around it. But for a while there, everyone's ad costs got a lot more expensive. So what that's meant for many, many people in the business is that they might have been able to, spend money on Facebook and drive people into a $97 sale or a $197 sale. That does not work anymore. It's going to be almost impossible to do that profitably. So now what those people are having to do is they're having to spend maybe $500 on advertising to make a $97 sale. So now they're $400 in the hole. And then they're hoping that once the person buys the $97 thing, they can turn around and sell them some more expensive stuff to make up that deficit, right? Now, our clients don't have that problem because we teach our clients not to sell their stuff for $97, but to sell their stuff for $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000. So now, yes, I might be spending $300-$400 on Facebook advertising or whatever it is to make that $5,000 sale, but I'll do that all day long because I'm so profitable at those price points. So when we're talking about convert, if you're selling your stuff at a low ticket price, you have to understand that the way the market is evolving and the way advertising is evolving, it's actually going to be harder to sell something for $97 than it is to sell something for $9,700. So get your head around that. It's harder to sell something for $97 than it is to sell your stuff for $10,000. But the reason for that is that ad costs are going up. And so if you want to be profitable with your advertising, you should be commanding a premium price. So it's really important that you guys understand that decision you make, and this is part of that convert piece, the decision you make about, well, what price am I going to charge? It affects everything else in your business. It affects the kind of client you attract. It affects the kind of experience they're going to have. It affects how easy it is for you to be profitable with your advertising. And it's going to really obviously affect how fast you hit your income goals. I mean, if you've got a $50 offer and you're trying to get to $50,000 a month, you need to get 1,000 new customers every single month. But if you're trying to get to $50,000 a month and you have a $10,000 offer, now you just need 5. So what sounds easier, to get 1,000 customers or to get 5 customers? Believe me, it's way easier to get 5 customers at a premium price than it is to get 1,000 customers or 10,000 customers at a lower ticket price. And with the way, like I said, the way advertising is going, you'll be much more profitable doing it at the high price than you will doing it at the low price too. So understand, guys, that when we're talking about convert, you need to be putting a premium price on what you're delivering to people. And if you've been selling yourself short or you've been undercharging, then we need to talk, because that's going to be the end of your business if you don't turn that around quick.
Well, Russ, I'm glad you brought up the math of things, right? Because with those changes, with those adjustments that have come into the fray with iOS 14 and just the increase in advertising costs, people could be mediocre at their business. They could be mediocre at their enrollments and their conversions. That can't work today because the cost is too high. If you're only converting 5%, 10% of the leads that you generate, you're out of business. So there's an opportunity here and there's a liability. So the opportunity really is most people's competition is getting weeded out. And then the flip side is that the people who have a system that works and they've got a really good conversion rate, both in terms of their attraction strategy as well as in their enrollment strategy, they're going to be cleaning up. So there really is this division right now where you're seeing the dabblers, the people who haven't been like just completely excellent at their jobs, they're getting weeded, and the people who are kicking ass, it's because they've got a proven system that they can ratchet things down like clockwork.
Yeah, guys, look, you don't want to be paranoid about changes, right? I mean, it's almost like, there's so many people out there that are going to tell you, oh, the sky is falling, or this is happening, or that's happening, right? So it's just really easy to go too far with that, to say, well, Facebook is making this change. Oh God, what are we going to do? Or YouTube is making this change, or Amazon is putting all the mom and pop retailers out of business. Oh man, what are we going to do? There's so much fear mongering that happens today. It's really easy to go too far with this. So I'm not saying you guys should be overly paranoid about any kind of change that's happening. But what I am saying is that you actually do have to kind of keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on. And in this case, what's going on is people are seeing the cost of online advertising go through the roof, especially on Facebook and YouTube. And the best defense against that is premium pricing. The best defense against that is premium pricing. So the good news for you, like Brooke was saying, is there's a massive opportunity. If you've got good stuff and you know that you've got real expertise, right? You can help people lose weight. You can help people grow their business. You can help people find the love of their life. You can help people fix their marriage. Whatever it is that you do, now is the time to learn how to command a premium price for that. Because if you can do that, you can write your own ticket. It's so much easier, guys, to hit those big income goals when you're doing it in $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 chunks than when you're trying to do it in $100 or $150 chunks. It just is. And this is the reason, guys, we're able to get such fast results for our clients. If you've been watching this show for any length of time, we've got tons and tons and tons of clients who are doing, 5 figures, 6 figures a month. And all of them started completely from scratch. These weren't people that had a New York Times bestseller or millions of followers or whatever. You never even heard of them. You have no idea who they are. But the reason they're so successful is because they're commanding those premium prices. If we weren't doing that, then it'd be much, much harder for us to get quick results for our clients. But because we're commanding those premium prices, it's a lot easier for us to do that. So those are the first 2 pieces, guys. Attract, convert. Attract, convert. What's the simplest way for you to get new leads in the door? And what's the simplest way for you to enroll them as clients? And I'll say one more thing about the convert piece. What we've found is that the fastest and best way to do that is just to get them on the phone. If again, like I said, if you're trying to sell a $7 something, you can just send them to an add to cart button, right? I mean, if you're buying a, $10 book or something on Amazon, great. You click the button, that's it. But again, if you're talking about buying something at a premium price, and if you're talking about buying something that's truly transformational, right? Which is what I think your guys' coaching, your coaching program should be. If you're talking about doing that, then the best place to enroll those people is over the phone. So that's the strategy that we teach. And that's why our strategy is so simple. Ad, webinar, phone call, new client. That's it. We can't make it any simpler than that. And that process is so powerful that it can take people from clicking on that ad to enrolling with you at that premium price in like 24 to 48 hours. That's what I'm talking about when I say we want efficiency. That's what I'm talking about when we want to say we want to eliminate every sort of little extra step. We've cut all that stuff out so that we can get to the absolute goal the fastest. The goal is a new client. How do we get there as fast as we possibly can with as few steps as possible? That's it. Ad, webinar, phone call. So that's how we do attract and convert. at clients on demand. And that's how we're teaching our clients to do it too. And believe me, if we find a more efficient way to do it, we'll do it that way. But for right now, that's the most efficient process that we found. So start thinking, how can you incorporate that into your business? How can you run advertising so that you're creating a steady flow of leads? How can you get those leads into some kind of video or webinar so that now they're pre-sold? And then how can you get them on the phone and enroll them into your stuff at a premium price? If you're smart, that's what you should be thinking about.
I want to highlight part of the magic of what you've built in here, right? Because when people are genuinely, truly in pain and they're looking for a solution, they're not wanting a solution down the road. They want a solution immediately, right? You think of somebody who has, pain in their tooth. They want a dentist to get rid of that pain now. And again, that's a big piece of the benefit of your strategy, your system, Russ, is you've figured out a creative, simple way that reduces all the friction, that reduces the amount of links in the chain that could potentially break in a process. And you get people to respond to that big pain that's happening right now. And then they're way more likely to take action and convert because you're getting them in that window of time where they're most likely to convert. So there's definitely a method to the madness there for sure.
Well, that's true, because let's take those big problems that most coaches solve, right? Like most coaches aren't like, I'm going to show you how to, play the accordion or something, right? I mean, most of the coaches, especially the ones that we work with, they're helping people develop spiritually. They're helping people get in great shape. We work with a lot of doctors and naturopathic doctors who are helping people with autoimmune disorders and all kinds of stuff. But this is like big stuff. This is high stakes stuff. And, going back to that whole idea of nurturing, right? This whole idea of like, well, when someone clicks your ad, send them a video and then sell them something for $7 and then $20 and whatever, and spend like 6 months like building that relationship and building that trust before you sell them anything expensive. You guys have to understand that the most committed clients are the people that want to solve their problem now. The most committed clients are the people that want to solve their problem now. So let's say you're a business coach. 6 months from now, that guy who clicked your ad might be out of business. Or if you're a marriage coach, 6 months from now, that guy might be divorced, or that gal might be divorced. She may not have 6 months. You understand? So while you're sitting there trying to nurture and waste their time, your clients' problems are getting worse and worse and worse. And deep down, guys, if you're offering them, let's say a $27 ebook, if you're offering, a $27 ebook to somebody whose marriage isn't working, they know that thing isn't going to help them, right? I mean, if my marriage is really falling apart, it took us years to get to this point, right? I know all the things I've done. I know all the things she's done. I know all the fights, the arguments, whatever. Do I really think that a $27 ebook is going to fix that problem? Hell no. But if you put a $10,000 coaching program in front of me, now you have my attention. Because I understand this is something serious. This is something real. This is in depth. We're going to get into some stuff. We're gonna really map out how we're gonna fix this problem. And you're gonna work with me hand in hand until we fix it. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something real. So if I'm the most committed client and that's what I'm looking for, why are you wasting my time with anything else? And by putting a premium price on it too, guys, you have to understand that premium pricing is reassuring me that you're the best of the best. If you come to me and you say, hey, Russ, your marriage is falling apart. Guess what, man? I can help you. I can turn it around. And I go, cool, man. How much does it cost? And you're like, oh, it's $80. I'm going to laugh you out of the room. It's like, you're not going to save my marriage for $80. I'll believe you could do it for 10 grand. Yeah, maybe. But for $80, no. So if you guys want to go into a crowded marketplace, like let's say you guys are just getting started and you're looking around, you see all these competitors in the marketplace and you're like, oh man, these people have been in business for so much longer than I have. Maybe they have a New York Times bestseller. Maybe they have all these followers. How can I possibly go into that market and compete with those people? Premium pricing. Guys, premium pricing is the solution to so many of your problems. You got clients that aren't taking action? Raise your prices. You can't be profitable with paid ads? Raise your prices. You can't get taken seriously in a marketplace that's super crowded? Come in there and be the most expensive person in that market. And if you need to know how to do that, we're here for you. That's all we do with our clients. But that's why our clients are so successful, because we show them how to command that premium pricing and we show them an attraction strategy that works and a sales strategy that works. All right, so let's talk about that third piece. What is that third piece? So we talked about attract and convert. Now we got leads coming into the business. Now we're selling those leads consistently. We're turning them into buyers. Now let's talk about the third piece, which is deliver. Attract, convert, deliver. What we want to do at that point now is deliver our service, deliver our magic in the most efficient and effective way possible. So 2 things, efficient and effective. Efficient means that we're delivering it in the least amount of money, in the least amount of time, in the shortest time, with the smallest possible cost. So how can we deliver this efficiently? So we're not spending 60 hours a week serving our clients. We're not glued to our computer. We're not glued to the phone. We still have freedom to enjoy our lives. And how can we do it as effectively as possible so that we're getting the greatest possible results for our clients? Is it possible to do both of those things at the same time? That's our goal. That's our outcome here in the deliver stage.
And I think that there's a big misnomer in the industry, right? And the thought or the belief is that if I charge more, I have to put in that many more hours. And that's where I think a lot of people get stuck, is they go, oh, if I'm going to raise my prices, now I've got to, if I double my prices, I got to double the amount of hours. You've got to get out of the charging for hours game, and you've got to get into the charging for the result game. And so I think, again, on this fulfillment piece, it's really, really critical that people don't get bent around the axle of, I definitely want to increase my prices, but now I've got to do 4 years of the program or 1,400 more hours or whatever the belief might be.
Well, I think it comes down to, Brooke, understanding what it is that people are buying from you. So you have to understand what your client is buying from you. He's not buying your time. He's not buying your information. He's not buying your expertise. What he's buying is the value of the outcome that you deliver. The value of the outcome that you deliver. That's all your client cares about, is getting that outcome. So if you're a fitness coach and I'm here to lose 30 pounds, the only thing I care about is, am I going to lose that 30 pounds or not? If you're a marriage coach and my marriage is falling apart, the only thing I care about is, are you going to save my marriage or not? So I think that comes from, Brooke, as people go, well, they're paying $10,000, so I got to give them more time, or I got to give them 20 bonuses. You see that a lot. These people do these launches, and it's like, but wait, here's the first bonus, and here's the second bonus, and we're going to send you a keychain, and we're going to send you this, and we're going to send you all this stuff. And it's like, okay, all that stuff, guys, all that it does is just wastes the client's time. It's just more stuff. It's more information. And the more information you give someone, there's a cost to that. The cost is the time it takes to consume it. So if you're giving me a bunch of information that I don't need, you're wasting my time, because now I got to go through all of that information. And after I've spent 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours there, then I'm going to go, wait a minute, I didn't need to know any of that. And that's going to make me mad. And that's going to make your customers mad. So what you want to do instead is actually serve your client as efficiently as possible. Let's say, for example, that the plumbing in your house is gone. It's something happened. There was a leak. It's a mess. Your plumbing is gone. You call a plumber over, and the guy's got to come there right away. Now, look, if that guy can fix that problem in 20 minutes, wouldn't you want him to? Right? Even if it was $10,000, if I could give him 10 grand and boom, 20 minutes later, everything's fixed. The flood's cleaned up. My water's back on. Oh man, this guy's a hero. This guy's a miracle worker. I'm not going to sit there and go, wait a minute, man. I'll give you $10,000. So I want you to make this take 11 or 12 hours. No, like put my freaking water back on. If you can fix my marriage efficiently, then let's do it. I don't want, so make sure, guys, that you're not falling into that trap of believing that what people are buying from you is more of your time or more stuff, because that's just going to cause you to waste your time and waste their time. Once you understand that what people are buying from you is the outcome, then the question becomes, okay, great. How can I deliver that outcome as efficiently as possible? So let's talk about the way that our clients do that. Now, you can do this many, many different ways, right? However you deliver the outcome is up to you. You can do it in a one-on-one mentoring. You can do it in a 2 to 3 day event. You can do it in like a 12-month mastermind. What probably 95% of our clients do, and what we do, is put together an 8 to 10 week online workshop. An 8 to 10 week online workshop. So what is that? What does that look like? Well, an online workshop would be, again, somebody comes to you to save their marriage, right? Now, instead of doing couples counseling, or instead of sitting with them in your office, or instead of doing a lot of one-on-one coaching, what you're going to do is you're going to give them an 8-week online workshop. So here's how you sort of conceptualize that. This is the beginning. This is where they're at, right? When they first come to you, their marriage is a disaster. And that's where they are on day 1. Day 60, right? So after 8 weeks, now their marriage is working. Right? So that's where they're starting, and that's where we're taking them, right? Marriage is a mess. Marriage is awesome. Okay, great. So what you do is you begin to think and ask yourself, okay, well, what are the steps along that path? What are the steps along that journey? So let's just say for example, I don't know anything about marriage coaching, but let's just say for example that the first week is about stopping the fights, right? Now they're not fighting, they're not arguing. Then the second week, we have to show them a new communication strategy, a new way of relating to each other that's friendly and loving. And then maybe the third week, we start to get the intimacy back. And then in the fourth week, we deal with any sort of underlying issues or whatever until we get to that 8-week goal where the marriage is handled. Now, here's how you handle this, guys. Here's how you put this together. When someone joins your program, each week, you give them one step. So you give them a pre-recorded training that gives them one step. So week 1, they get the first week of material. Week 2, they get the second week of material, and so on. And if you take just that basic structure, and then you also give them some one-on-one or some live support where they can come on a Zoom call with all the other people in your program and ask questions. Maybe you have a Facebook group or a help desk where they can ask questions there, but you give them some kind of way to ask questions and get some live support from you. That's it. That's all that you need to put together a $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 program. And here's my promise to you. In a program like that, people will get much better results than even something like one-on-one mentoring. And the reason for that is because there is a structure. It's not just like, let's hang out together. We're going to work together for an hour a week, like therapy. Like how many people do we know that have gone to therapy for years and not gotten anywhere? Like that's therapy, right? But when you're doing a program like this, there's a defined start date, a defined end date, there's a defined curriculum, and people are going through this program as a group. So now there's this whole group dynamic that comes up where your clients can support each other, your clients can help each other, your clients can cheerlead for each other, et cetera, et cetera. And the best part is that this is extremely efficient. So it's efficient for your time because the training videos that you're giving them are pre-recorded. So you only have to do that once. And then during the week, you just have to come on those Q&A calls. And in our business, those Q&A calls maybe go like 2 hours. Now you've got something, right? Now you've got something efficient. It's efficient because it doesn't take very much time for you to deliver it. And it's effective because it gets brilliant results for your clients. Does that make sense? So that's the reason we've put together this business model, right? Is how can we do attract as simply and efficiently as possible? How can we do convert as simply and efficiently as possible? And how can we deliver our stuff as simply and efficiently as possible? So if you feel like that model can work for you, awesome. If you're a coach, consultant, expert, author, speaker, thought leader, if you solve a major life or business challenge in your work, then this model is as good as it gets. On the other hand, if you're like a roofer or something, maybe this model won't work for you exactly as I've talked about, but you can still find a really efficient way to apply these principles to your business, whatever it is. And above all else, if you've been spending time, like I said in the beginning, sort of getting ready to get ready and sort of stretching things out so that you don't have to, hear the word no, you don't have to really put yourself out there, then I want to invite you to stop doing that now and start thinking the way we're talking about here. Attract, convert, deliver. How do you do this as efficiently as possible? How do you do this as efficiently as possible? And how do you deliver your stuff as efficiently as possible? That's how you build a great business. All this other stuff that you think you have to do, you don't. You can forget about all that stuff, all those extra steps that have been thrown in. Maybe you've heard of, other people from other YouTube videos or whatever, putting extra stuff in the way, putting extra steps in the way. All that stuff is nonsense. You don't need any of that stuff. If you're a coach, you don't need affiliates, launches. You don't need great branding. You don't need a $25,000 website. You don't need a hit podcast. You don't need a New York Times bestseller. You don't need a massive audience. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need any of that stuff. You need attract, convert, deliver. That's it. And that's all. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, I think it's really, really important for people to recognize business is not complex. It's really freaking simple, but it's up to us to keep it simple so that we can navigate and move through it. And again, with what you're sharing, Russ, there is science behind what you've built here. This crap works, plain and simple. It works. So if you're wanting more clients, if you want them to come in the right state of mind, if you want them to convert easier where you don't have to move mountains, and you want to have a system of delivery that allows you to maintain and keep a semblance of a life. That we're doing this thousands of times over with so many people around the world, helping so many different people with different solutions. So yeah, this thing is definitely powerful.
Guys, so look, if you want us to simplify things for you, then here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to clientsondemand.com/talk. That's clientsondemand.com/talk. And what you can do is book an appointment to speak to our team. We'll get on the phone together for about 45 minutes and we can look at everything that's going on in your business, right? What's working, what's not working, all the stuff that you've been trying to do. And our goal will just be to help you get clarity. How do we help you get clarity on what's really going on in your business? And what is your goal? Who do you want to work with? What kind of clients do you want? What kind of price do you want to charge? What's that perfect price? We're going to get you clarity on all that stuff. And then we're going to put our heads together and come up with a really great game plan to show you how to get there. And there's no charge for this. It's absolutely free. We love to do it. So go to clientsondemand.com/talk, and that's going to open up our calendar page. You can choose whatever available appointment time you want, and we will call you at the time that you chose. Now, if you want to talk to us about how we can help you bring this into reality, then of course we'll talk about that. On the other hand, if you don't want to talk about that, that's cool too. Either way, our goal on that call is just to give you massive, massive value and show you exactly how to apply these ideas to your business. And if you're like most of the people we talk to, guys, you are way undercharging. You're charging whatever you're charging when you could be charging $5,000 or $8,000 or $10,000 a month. You're working inefficiently. You're doing all this extra busy work on social media and all this other stuff that you just don't have to do anymore. And you're leaving so much money on the table. I like to say this: if I want you to think about what your income goal is. Is it $50,000 a month? Is it $80,000 a month? Is it $100,000 a month? Well, I want you to think about whatever that goal is, and I want you to subtract what you're making right now. So let's just say that your goal is to get to $50,000 a month, and right now you're only at $10,000 a month. Well, that's $40,000 a month tuition that you're paying to the University of Not Knowing. That's what it's costing you not to know what we know. It's costing you $40,000 a month that you're leaving on the table. We want to help you start picking some of that back up. So go to clientsondemand.com/talk right now and book that appointment to speak to us. Brooke, I'll give you the last word, my friend.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. In the beginning of this podcast, you made mention of, if you're in that space of you're getting ready to get ready, that's not what this call's about, or this session's about. But the reality is these calls, if you've been getting ready to get ready and you're just looking for that door, that vehicle to allow you to truly take your business and launch and grow or take it to the next level, take Russ up on this offer, man. Seriously, book a call with one of our enrollment coaches. These guys know their stuff. And if you're looking for a system to help catapult your business, do it.
Absolutely, guys. Go to clientsondemand.com/talk. That's going to do it for us today. Thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us today. We will catch you guys on the next show. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for tuning in to today's show. If you guys want to subscribe, there's a little picture of me. You can click that button right over there. If you want to book a breakthrough session with our team, which you absolutely should do, then you can click that button there or go to clientsondemand.com/talk to book an appointment to speak to us. We'll go ahead and catch you on the next show. Bye-bye.